Welcome, students, as we prepare for another episode of DC Graduates. I am one of your hosts, your doctor recommended dose of nerdiness, aka your nerd today, Carlos Rodriguez. And as always, I am joined by, pardon me, my teacher in crime, Sly. How
Where
are
am I
you?
following you to?
To the depths of hell and war, as we talk about Justice
Oh,
League War
fucking
today.
apparently. How am I? I'm exhausted. I'm about to fall asleep. I did just chug a coffee, so I will be wired in approximately 3 to 5 minutes. So we'll see when that kicks in. But in the meantime, we're thriving.
Barely hanging in. I seem more awake, and this is post as a recording Eagles Super Bowl win, and I don't know how I'm awake. I'm gonna be honest, and I had a full day of work, so it's a
I
drink
can't
of
believe you
sunscreen.
went into work today, because
I can't
that's
believe my
impressive.
work was open today and not burned down.
Valid.
Yeah, I joked around in the shared screen Discord because unfortunately a fellow friend of the show, Chris Rumblepack, he's a Chiefs fan, but we have a very don't boo him. He's a very lovely
I
man.
kind of want to boo him.
Yeah, he's a very lovely man. He's a very lovely man. So he was commiserating, and I was like, pat him on the back. We were very good friends, so we were very nice to each other yesterday. But yeah, he's like, I expect you guys to be downtown. Like, listen, I moved out of the city like in the summer. I'm never going back unless I have to. Okay.
Fair
And
enough.
tonight is not a night. I want to see the debauchery. I don't want to be a part of the
Hmm.
debauchery. You understand? I'm too old for that.
Yeah, real.
Absolutely not. But as I mentioned, we're following ourselves into war because we're talking about 2014's Justice League War. This is a
Hmm.
continuation, and again, all these are going to be continuation this season. This is actually like a shared universe now.
Yeah.
Post Flashpoint Paradox. So this is the new 52. We're here basically. For better or worse, we're going to talk about it each episode, and we're going to touch upon the new 52 all season because
Uh-huh.
there's some good things, there's some bad things, and there's some weird shit in between. All right. And
Correct.
luckily, a lot of the bad shit that comes with Teen Titans and other properties like that within the New 52 doesn't translate here, so it's really nice. But today's episode, as I mentioned, Justice League War, directed by Jay Olivia, written by Heath Corson, which is based off Jeff Johns and Jim Lee's Justice League Origin, the first 6 issues of that run, beginning of the New 52, as I mentioned. Studio is WB Animation, as always. Stars Sean Astin as Shazam, which was perfect. Zach Carlson coming back as, or is it Callison? I think he's Callison, right? Never heard his name spoken. Love his work in Steven Universe. Also beautiful singer. um, he came back as Billy. He's previously been Billy on our timeline before and other stuff. Christopher Gorham, Justin Kirk, Michelle Monaghan, Shamar Moore, Jason O'Mara, Alan Tudyk, and Steve Bloom. Um, Streaming on Max, which is a nice, again, nice thing. Again,
Mhm.
caveat, huge caveat. Fuck Dave Zasloff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, fuck Max, because I did try to watch this. Well, I did watch it today, but as I was trying to watch it,
Mm-hmm.
I went to set it up on my computer, forgetting that I have a second monitor, and all the streaming services fucking hate that. They will not let me watch anything. They'll play it. It'll just be a black screen. Why? I don't know. Pisses me off. Anyway, so I close it on my computer and I go to turn it on my TV. And it pops up and it says, too many devices are streaming. And weird. So I text my parents, the owners of the account, and said, hey, are you using the Max account? And they said no. So I closed the app, I reopened the app, and magically, nobody else is watching it.
That's so
Why did
weird.
it do that to me? I don't know. Just to piss me off. So fuck you, Max. Fuck you, David Zaslav. Also, Max is a horrible streaming platform name. It's just a name. It's just a guy.
No, and then
You
you know
know?
what? Sadly, it doesn't even like run amazing. It runs better than Prime. I
No,
would say runs better than Crunchyroll. You know,
definitely.
of
Everything runs better than Crunchyroll.
so bad, man, so bad. I will say this is
Without the
a
streamers, it's kind of the worst.
yeah, like Disney's. is kind of up there. It's pretty decent. Netflix, I mean, it's been in the game for so long, so that one happens to be the
Right.
best. I will say, as a quick aside to this whole thing about streaming and interface and stuff, the second episodes of One Piece that I happen to be on are on Netflix. I immediately stopped watching them on Crunchyroll. I don't care if I paid that $8 a month. I was like, I'll watch Gundam on there. I'll do whatever else I'm doing. I'm gonna watch One Piece on Netflix because Netflix's UI just knows what it's doing. I can skip ahead. It can skip past the
Right.
recap. Crunchyroll's like, hey, is this a recap? Like, yeah, dude, it's always 6 minutes of this fucking episode is a recap for the last 80 episodes I just watched.
Yep.
I've been here, man. This is a I've been doing this for over a year at this point. We're 700 deep, bro. Let's do this. Get it done. But that aside, yeah. Before we get into the plot recap and comic book characters, I wanted to shout out something because some of these like names that we just listed off are not going to be moving forward. You know, there's a lot of unison within this DC AMU. Um, you know, obviously the storylines and the art style kind of move forward where we're going from here, but a lot of these voices don't. But one of them that does, and I want to shout them out because we're gonna talk about them constantly. Jason O'Mara,
Mm.
fucking fantastic as Batman.
Yeah.
You know, he's up there.
Which is
He is.
really hard,
It is. It
especially
really
because
is.
like when we have such an iconic voice of Batman, and that is like the identity of this character in animated spaces, to not try to like live up to that, but
Yeah.
have a really solid, fresh take on the character that holds up and is consistent throughout this run is really impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see more from him.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I, you know, I've seen him in, you know, obviously live media stuff. He's in Terra Nova, he's been in a bunch Life on Mars, he's been in a bunch of sitcom you know, or like shows for television and stuff. Um, but man, he just brings something special to his portrayal of Batman and Bruce Wayne. And there's a cockiness there. There's something it's funny because he's given different stuff than, you know, we've seen with, you know, our previous actors that we've had on the list and we talked
Right.
about, you know, Kevin Conroy being chief among them, the best Batman. But Jason brings something different to the role, and there is a
Mhm.
cockiness to him that really fits, and he kind of brings it out. It's really cool. You see a lot in this movie, especially his interactions with Hal, which are fucking hilarious throughout this whole movie. I love it so much. And for
Aw.
you Ninja Turtle fans, I just found out because I looked him up. I was like, he's Irish, right? So I looked it up. He is Irish. He was previously married to Paige Turco, and that's literally for me, April O'Neil, the original Ninja Turtles. Oh, I'm sorry, part 2 and 3. She was April O'Neil in Secret of the Ooze and Back in Time. So I'm an old man, and I just wanted to shout that out. Uh, that's the first of many Ninja Turtles things I will talk about throughout this series because we have a whole ass episode that I'm gonna promise I'm gonna try not to go over 2 hours for like an 80-minute
We'll
movie.
see.
But uh, Sly, hit us with that plot recap and comic characters.
Yeah. This was really fucking boring. I apologize
It
in
really is.
advance. The world's finest tourists found the Justice League in order to stop an alien invasion of Earth. And
That's
for
it.
everybody else confused, they use the form of found as in like to like set up, like a founder, like establishing somebody.
Mhm.
But also it makes it sound like they like just like stumbled across the Justice League and was
Yeah.
like, found you.
Like, "Oh,
All
shit."
right, whatever. Anyways, that was a horrible like elevator pitch like summary of this movie. But it's what they gave us, so you know what? All right.
How about those comic book characters? Who we got in this fine movie?
Everybody. Uh everybody and their mother. We got Superman, Batman, somebody they're calling Wonder Woman. I don't know about that. Green Lantern, The Flash, Shazam, my boy Vic, Cyborg. Love you so dearly.
Victory. Victory.
Darkseid, Desaad, and that motherfucker, asshole extraordinaire, Silas Stone. Fuck you.
Such a bad dad. He is legitimately a bad father.
God.
Such a
Not
bad
even a
dad.
good person. Like,
Nah, honestly, he really isn't. Like, like Victor is pulling the weight of like that family. You know, he's trying to make sure that they're a family, and that Silas is literally doing nothing. Like Victor has to die for him to get noticed. Like, Dad, help me!
no,
I'm missing
Victor
skin.
doesn't even have to die because he didn't like super care about him while he was dying. He really didn't care about him until he was mostly technology, which really
Yeah.
shows where his priorities are.
Yeah.
Alien tech, now I'll care about my child.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
fuck you.
What a dick. Um, moving on, we're going to touch on the Andrea Romano roundup. As I mentioned before, this is our segment where we get to shout out our voice director, Queen herself, Andrea Romano, who's actually in this movie as well. She pulls she's like a news reporter and Hal's ring, which was a nice touch. She always has little like cameos when she does voice directing movies, and I love it. Um, so for the roundup, kind of wanted to talk about like the forming of this Justice League, right? Because obviously it's controversial. Again, we're years past the New 52, but this is the epitome of what the New 52 is. It starts with the Justice League. Um, and I couldn't help but watch this movie and think back to both versions of the live action Justice League we got in the Zack Snyderverse. Both Joss Whedon and the full Snyderverse version. And I can't help but think, wow, this movie does it way better in less time than that movie. And again, personally for me, the Snyderverse, the Snyder version, the Snyder cut, you will call it, is better than Joss's
Mm,
cut. That's not saying much, you know, with what is there. Um, obviously we don't get a Green Lantern. There's other issues with the Flash in that universe is like a little um we don't get we don't get a lot of the big players that we get in this movie, but or in the comic, but
mhm.
they follow almost. I was like watching it, I was like, I never put two and two together when I was watching the Snyderverse version. It is almost to a T, like kind of following Jeff and Jim's like origin. Like they picked apart, what things worked
Mhm.
in that series in the beginning of the New 52 because it is the most modern interpretation of what these characters are. The biggest reboot we had to date at this moment. Um, I don't know. I mean, you've seen both versions, right, of the live action movie?
No.
Okay, that's probably better for you. That's why
I
we
don't
do
know
the
if I
show.
honestly, I don't know if I've seen the full version of the original cut. Um, listen, live action stuff was bad,
Yeah.
and I don't like I like fun bad things, not like boring bad
All right.
things.
This is gonna be. I'm gonna say this on air. If we launch a Patreon and we get so many numbers or whatever, we will do
Yeah.
bonus episodes of DC Graduates, but
Uh-huh.
like very
When you force
slowly,
me to watch the
where I will
Snyderverse.
force you to watch the Snyderverse, and
Alright, I'll commit to that.
we'll bring Mario back from the dead and make sure that
Uh-huh.
he's involved in this. Just so we can have someone to bounce ideas off and just bring
Yeah.
someone, just drag someone into the pits of hell, with us. But yeah, it's interesting watching both of those films and now this. I was like, wow, like I get it. Like we always talk about comic books are better, that's the source material and things like that. But it's hard, man. This movie has a lot of issues. Um,
Yeah.
going character by character, you even mentioned it too. Wonder Woman in this.
Oh, God.
She is
Yeah.
very fish out of water. It does kinda work comedically, a lot of it, like, the ice cream bit works. Um,
Mhm.
I do like her talking to the little girl. I like those little cute moments. Um, she's feral. She's fucking that's what kinda made
Yeah,
me laugh. She's like a feral fucking creature, and this.
I think my biggest problem with her characterization in this is the, like, infantilization of her
Mm,
that's
okay.
kind of inherent with when you have, like, a First Day Alive kind of
Yeah,
character.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know the real name of that trope, but, like, when somebody, like, springs to life fully formed, they have the like emotional maturity of very young, but it's like
Yeah.
a whole ass
Or like fish
human.
out of
And
water,
they're
similar like Splat
yeah.
I'm thinking funny enough I says that Splash I'm thinking of with Tom Hanks, because a couple of films like that, yeah, or you're, "Oh, I'm new to this new world," like, this is crazy.
And uh there's there's that one dialogue scene that was really cringy in a, 2025 world. Um
Is
and
that the one I put
I
in
guess
quotes?
just like yeah, the one I took out of the cards.
Nice, yeah, that's fair. Very fair.
Yeah, that scene. I just like it was it was something that was obviously written in a way that was meant to be like lighthearted, haha joke type,
Mhm,
but like I it was so obviously written from a place where they thought that like the joke was more that her outfit makes her feel powerful and not not what it should have been, where this guy was like slut shaming her for something he also enjoys. I don't know. It was weirdly crafted. I get what they were trying to go for. I think
yeah.
it was just poorly done.
Yeah, the inflection
Um
there is strange. Initially, I put it because of
yeah,
the final joke of her being like, "Hey, you live," because
right.
it is a very Diana quote, right? And
Absolutely.
I'm not
And
shit
that
on
last line
Michelle
was really
Monaghan.
good. It was
Yeah,
just the yeah.
something about her inflection there. It is very strange.
Right.
Like it's almost like she's making fun of him instead of being,
Uh-huh.
if you mentioned like this character who's like is new to the world of man, this modern world that she's
Mhm.
part of. She's only been on Themyscira, and to be like, yeah, man, live your truth, though. Like whatever you want to do. Like
Right.
it didn't sound empowering. It sounded more
Uh-huh.
condescending from Diana, which she
Right,
doesn't do. She never
exactly.
does.
Uh-huh. And my thing is, if you're gonna take Diana as a character and you want to run with the fish out of the water storyline, make her super like formal and old fashioned and make her talk like a freaking like Greek like play, right? Like
Mhm.
that would work. It would accomplish the same thing, but it's less um haha fart joke funny
Mhm.
way of
Mhm.
taking on this character, and I don't know, I think they were going for a piece of humor that was unnecessary in this movie because there's a lot of very funny moments. Like, you mentioned Hal and Bruce and the way they interact.
Fucking
It's incredible.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's like my favorite form of banter between the two of them. I love when they like joke around and get on each other's nerves. It literally like one of my favorite things about Hal as a lantern is how he calls Bruce spooky. I think that's so
Yeah.
funny. And he committed to that here. And like that's the kind of like comedic relief that you can get in this film. And to just like pigeonhole Diana into this like um, you know, this first day on Earth type character storyline. It just I don't think it was necessary, you know? You
Yeah.
had a funny movie without that. I don't
What
know.
which is funny too, because you obviously, this is my third or fourth time watching this, which we didn't cover in host history. I've seen this quite a bit. Um, it's weird because you get the inflection that she's been briefed by Steve, like what's going on in the real world. She's obviously interacted with Steve Trevor and like a modern society to a certain bit. Like maybe a, maybe this is week two, something like that. Maybe week one, but still like nothing should be that crazy new for her. Like it still should be a shock. Again, the ice
And
cream
she's
bit,
smart.
yeah,
Like
the ice cream
she
bit
could
is one of my
figure it
favorite
out.
things in
Yeah.
comics, animated, and they redid it in live action as well. In Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman movie, phenomenal. All three times they do it. It's very cute, very Diana. It does feel like, obviously she is like this Greek goddess, right? You see her on this pedestal and she's beautiful and all this other stuff, but she also is just like a normal person. Like that's the cool thing about a lot of these
Right.
characters. We put them on this pantheon. Like she mentions it at the end of the film too. Like it feels good to fight
Yeah.
alongside the pantheon. Like it reminds me of fighting alongside the gods. Um, the other weird thing too with her characterization and I didn't write it in my notes, but like rewatching it, it was just her infatuation with Clark. Also, we love, I mean, mind you, we talked about this before. We love Alan Tudyk on this podcast. Alan Tudyk could do no wrong.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
weird to say
for
that
sure.
Alan Tudyk is not a good fit for Superman, right? To me, like
Yeah, it
watching it, like it's
was
just something about a lot of the actors that they picked for this, like they don't fit. You know, I love Shamar Moore, and I think he did great as Cyborg, but he sounds so much older than he's supposed to be. And I was like, dude, unless you're Felix from Stray Kids, like,
blush
I don't get
more.
it. Like,
Yeah.
like, how deep is your voice, man? Like, I do. I love me some Shamar Moore, and I that played, and my coworker was like, "Is that Shamar Moore?" I was like, "Yes, it is." And she's like, "Damn, I know that voice anywhere."
And because he sounded so old, I couldn't remember whether or not I knew he was playing school football. I couldn't tell if it was high school or college. And those are two like very different age ranges.
Very different,
And then he
yeah.
mentioned trying to get a college scholarship, and I was like, "Aren't you in college? Like, what's
Yeah, typically, I
going
think
on
New
here?"
52 and Snyderverse put him in college, and then
Yeah,
this, for whatever reason, even de-aged him even more so, put him in, like, in high school. I'm like, "Nah, man. Nah, it doesn't work that way."
weird. Cause like I don't know. I guess it depends. I think everybody's ages are kind of in a blender because also Flash seemed a lot younger than
Ye
the core.
I
And
agree.
usually when I think about Cyborg, I think about him being like Dick's age, like within like his like Titans run, right?
Yeah, so she
Um
should be, like, 19. They should be, like
yeah. So he should be like yeah, early mid college, right?
mhm.
Um but then also Barry feels a little bit younger than like
I will say, yeah, because
the older
obviously
guard and that kind of stuff.
yeah, that's a holdover from Flashpoint Paradox. It is Christopher Gorham coming back as the
Mhm.
role of Barry.
And
He
he's
does,
great, but
yeah, he does really good, and he does do something. I don't know. For me, there's a distinction between voice actor. We talked about this, I think, in season one, between voice actor and actor, right?
mhm,
Um, Not every actor could be a really good voice actor, but I
real.
truly believe every voice actor can be an amazing actor. Um,
Mhm,
the translation doesn't work the well. Like Sean Astin fucking kills it as Billy, as Shazam.
mhm.
Like and there's something about the whimsical nature that is Sean Astin. Your brain automatically hears it. You hear like
Yeah.
Goonies Never Die. Something about that. You just hear Goonies. You hear all the other films that he's been in. So he's perfect. Christopher, really like him as Barry. I really, really do. I think he does something interesting in his role. Again, TV actor, translation of voice work. He does something interesting because you mentioned he does sound younger. It's still the same actor, but he does do something that makes him sound ever so slightly younger. And then there's that whole banter scene between him and Al when they see Batman. You're like, oh yeah, Batman's real. It's like, oh, Mr. Batman, like there's a cuteness there. Um, and I'm not even knocking Michelle Monaghan, like she is an amazing actress. Something about her just doesn't feel right for Diana.
Yeah.
Um, it's easy to say that, I guess, for us, and obviously we're not voice actors, um,
Right.
so
But like,
with
I
a
don't know.
grain of salt, but and Alan,
Bruce
I love Alan.
felt
Alan
really
does so much
good.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
It just
Hal felt really good. Like we mentioned, like Barry was really good. He just felt a tad young to me.
mhm.
Cyborg felt really good. He was just a touch old to me. But like something about Superman, I like when Cal has a bit of like an ego, a bit of arrogance to him,
Yes.
because I think
Yeah.
that's something that's really interesting to interrogate is this character who is this like shining ideal of like perfection essentially,
Mm.
but also to have like a little bit of like human flaws in him that come up, that I think that's a really interesting character dynamic. But this just felt like it took it like two steps too far. Like
Yes.
it just needed to be like toned down a little bit, turn that dial down a little
Mhm.
bit, and I think it would have been a really strong choice. I think again, it was just like a couple steps past the line of where I think you can play with that and have it be really narratively interesting.
I agree, and one of the interesting things with his portrayal in this too is, you get something like earlier you mentioned, like, a lot of the cockiness that comes with if it was just regulated to maybe the end fight with darkseid, because
Mhm.
you're talking about, like, a young Clark, I mean, he just
Right.
if we're talking about New 52 status, he just got his full, um, costume, that's a Kryptonian armor thing that's, like, built into his body kinda deal, like nanomachines kinda deal. So he's early in his career. So him being cocky toward darkseid would kinda make sense this early on. Him being cocky
Mhm.
toward Bruce and Hal during their fight, knowing he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this dude's just normal, and this guy's got a ring, and it's not hurting me. So, yeah, I got this." That kinda makes sense, but there's so many moments where he's consistently cocky, and it's, like, it's just a little too much, and I wrote in my notes, like, "I don't know if I like cocky Clark so much." It felt weird, and then there was the weird I mean, we'll talk about it. I think they flesh it out a little more in later installments, but there is that love story between Diana and Clark in the New 52, which you're
Mhm.
touching upon here, and it just felt strange. It felt strange in the comics when it happened, but it made a little more sense. Here, it's like Diana being infatuated the way she is with him. She's like, "Well, I've never seen any man like you," like, ew,
Yeah.
no, yuck.
Especially with like I think that played into like the infantilization that we see throughout it. With that instant infatuation, I think it's a double yuck. Um and like my thing is I like Diana being badass and embracing her femininity and attraction, and I think that's really powerful and great
Mhm.
for her as a character. I don't like it when they try to write her as like boy crazy, cause
Yeah.
like that's not Diana. Like, yeah, maybe she falls fast and hard for the first man she ever sees. Fine, whatever.
We've all been
You know,
there.
we've all been there. But especially once, and in this one, she kind of just blows him off. Like you see him being like super dejected when she's flirting with.
He's like, "I have obviously
That
lost
was
this.
funny.
This sucks."
Yeah. Which I did get a laugh out of that, but, yeah, I don't know, it felt weird. It didn't feel right, like, again, we love, um, Diana and Clark, especially when
Mhm.
it's Diana Clark and Bruce together, right? We ship it, we support it.
Yes, we do.
I just maybe not these iterations of the
No.
characters.
No, 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 and there's a strangeness that came to it, especially, like, when they're I don't know, something about when she's, like, saving the president and, she's just right there, and then Clark's, like, holding the plane up, Air Force One. It just felt weird. It just felt weird. Not a fan of that because especially you would think, I think comic book wise, at least in her solo run, she knows she's the daughter of Zeus. I believe she does. So Hippolyta is definitely like, "Yo, fuck dudes for real though." Like,
Yeah.
like trust me, they are really shitty. Your father was horrible. He's like the worst of the worst of any man in all of creation. Like Darkseid is a better father, than Zeus.
The father fucker. Like
Yeah,
he's around like fucking everything that moves, like ra-
yeah.
raping everybody,
He's
like
Johnny Appleseed,
animals,
man.
like
Yeah, yeah.
bestiality, like he gets around and
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever. But also I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So
weird.
like Hippolyta definitely would have been like, "Yo, nah, just chill it with the dudes." And then you like would build upon it. And that's one that, I think a really good thing we can touch upon here. I think I would like to explore that a lot more as long as the film kind of lends itself to it. But, with these Snyderverse and this, some comparisons between good and bad things, right? So you have Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman. When she sees Steve, of course, she sees him naked and she's like, "Oh, cool." you know, and that's played for jokes. And of course, he's like, "Oh my god," and like, "No, you can't see me," and she's just like, "Oh, what's that thing?" You know, kind of, yeah. And it's
Yeah,
cute, it's funny,
like,
it
interesting,
works. Yeah,
curious. Right, yeah.
yeah, but it's not like her. She immediately sees a dude, and she's like, "That, whatever that is, I want it." Like she doesn't know, and then like it builds. Like he like earns her, earns
Mhm,
her, admiration. Like he has to show that he's actually like a decent dude,
right,
in that movie to be like, "Oh, hey, okay, I kind of like you. I'll allow you to dance with me." Like, again,
right.
that's the whole point with Diana. When you capture her, right, you should be, you know, glad that she chose you as a romantic
Absolutely.
partner or anything. Like, you are blessed. That's what this is a
Mhm.
goddess. That's what we're
You have
talking
to
about.
earn her favor.
Mhm. I don't know why a lot of like this doesn't get it right, but when you see so many pieces of media, and on the Marvel side with Storm, they capture it perfect every
Mhm,
time, you know? Like, how's
mhm,
Wolverine with Storm? Like, you know why? Because he earned that. He earned it. It's
right.
not a infatuation. No, he earned that short little fucking Canadian climbed that mountain on
Mhm,
a reason. Like, there's a reason why he can't climb that,
yeah,
okay?
mhm.
There's, like, certain things like that, but yeah, there's something, like, I don't know. It was Wonder Woman was the strangest one in this movie for me. Um, Batman, no notes, 10 out of 10. They killed his character. They absolutely, like, did an amazing
Mhm.
job. Green Lantern, Hal. Let's talk
As
about Hal
much
for
as
a
I
minute
hate
because he's
Hal, he
great.
was great in this.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, Green Lantern, I just love Batman hates every Green Lantern, and
Uh,
this is the basis for it, like, because Hal is
but
that
really,
shitty.
yeah, Hal is that motherfucker that every time he thinks of a Green Lantern, he thinks of that, like,
Yeah. You got I mean
weaselly little fucker that's gotta
yeah,
get under
John's a
his
good
skin,
dude,
right?
is John still has to prove himself to Batman because of Hal. Like, Hal
Right.
does that much damage. Feel like, I don't
It's all
any of
Hal's
these motherfuckers
fault.
with green rings, I don't like them.
Mhm.
I don't like them at all. Um, let's move on. You have an
Although
interesting
his,
yeah,
constructs in this fucking
great.
movie were inspired. They were genius. They were brilliant. I really love how it was animated, and I also love, like, the little touches they added
Mhm.
to all of the constructs that are like, "This is so, like, annoyingly unnecessary, but that's how." Like, that's
Yeah.
his character.
I mentioned it in one of my notes, is like, I love Hal's unnecessary use of a elevator chime when he created the elevator. Like, there's no point in creating a little ding and having the door slowly open.
Mine was the rumble of um, the train on the train track wheels
Yeah.
as he crushed him into a building. I was like, "What was that for?"
He just loves choo-choos, man. He just loves choo-choo trains. That's like that's how.
Good enough.
He's a simple man, you know? He's a simple man, he just loves trains. Also, I also
Mhm,
wrote too, is like, that lady does have a point. Like, he had the choice to be like,
mhm.
"Oh, elevator? Put her on the ground floor." He's like, "This random roof in
No.
Gotham? Sure. Don't get mugged."
Especially in fucking Gotham. Like, you can't just be hanging out on
Dude,
any rooftop.
you
Like,
never know.
that's not gonna go well for you. You never
Man
know.
Bat could be around the corner. Fucking Deadshot could be like, "Oh shit, hey, there's somebody I
Love
can shoot
Man
at."
Bat.
Yeah, anybody and anything could be in Gotham at any given point. Mind you, they can run rapid right now. Batman's fucking fighting aliens in DC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can do
What?
whatever they want. And this poor lady's like, "Yo,
This
how do I get
uh
down?"
I have a complete tangent for you. I know we're
Mhm.
talking about this movie, but who's your problematic fave character in the DC universe? Because
Problematic
mine might
fair.
be Man Bat. I fucking love Man Bat.
Ooh. That's good. That's a good one. I'm this is gonna be controversial to you specifically. It might be
Okay.
Ivy.
Ivy? I
She
love Ivy.
she kills so many people. That's the
Yeah.
she's not wrong.
Horrible
She just goes about it the wrong way.
CEOs who are ruining the world. Yeah, no, we stand Ivy in this household.
I feel like Ivy would be best friends with somebody named Luigi. I'm just saying. Just
Uh-huh,
saying.
uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah, they'd be like
Um,
BFFs.
as I love saying on the show, we support women's wrongs, and
You
most
really
of
gotta
those
make that a
wrongs
shirt.
are Ivy's.
A lot of them are, yeah. You know what? I love that Bruce
Her and
knows.
Talia.
I know. I love that though. For Ivy, Bruce knows he's like, she ain't wrong. She just keeps
Yeah.
fucking killing people. You gotta stop killing people.
Yeah. He's like, I don't have a problem with your like ideology. I just have a problem with your methods because you're fucking murdering bitches.
How about I give you an island and I give you a lab? You just figure this shit out. No? Okay, come on, man. Just stop killing people, please.
Right.
I'm sorry. Um, you have
Anyways,
something,
back to
yeah.
this
I
movie.
was gonna say, yeah. You have something here written. So we touched upon the Greek
Mhm.
gods. Run us through this, yeah, because Diana at the end talks about the Greek gods. She mentions a few,
Uh-huh.
other than
And what was
Superman.
interesting is when we're talking about like the pantheon,
Mhm.
especially Greek gods, and how they're portrayed in superhero mediums. Because the big two just be stealing myths and legends from everybody. But especially
Absolutely.
the Greek gods being like actual real named characters in these fucking
It's like this is
universes,
easy
which
for
is
me. It's
ridiculous.
already written.
Um yeah, which is like problematic in and of itself. But ignoring the fact that we're like turning uh, actual like religious figures that people actively like worship and stuff into silly little superhero characters.
Mm,
In this movie, we do get a really interesting line at that end ceremony, which they were just yapping through the entire time. None of those motherfuckers were paying attention to the ceremony going
they
around.
were.
It's fine. But Diana makes a really interesting comparison directly associating each of the Justice League members with a member of the Greek pantheon. And I just kind of wanted to like talk about it and run through this because I thought it was some interesting claims that these or ties that these
Mhm,
writers were making. So first we have Batman compared to Hades,
mhm.
god of the underworld, jewelry, wealth.
Yeah, I
Um,
see it. Yeah,
yeah,
and there's a nobility that comes from a lot of Hades stories. I know, like we portray him
yeah.
as a villain, and there's a lot of villainous stuff that but typical Greek mythology, there is you know, a lot of kindness that he shows
I
sometimes.
think it's a real like misassociation with Hades. He's not
Mm,
the god of the dead. Like there is
yeah,
legitimately a god of the dead. That's a whole nother issue. But like and like all of the Greek gods do fucked up shit. It's Greek mythology.
exactly. Yeah, no one's
That's
perfect
fine.
in that.
Yeah. But I thought, yeah, Hades and Batman was really interesting connection with like the wealth association and the like protecting of like souls, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And of course the dark themes and his, you know, man of the night. Uh, I just called Batman a stripper. That's fine.
One of those night walkers,
uh, yeah, it's fine. Um,
Alright,
one that's moving
we have
on.
a famous
One that was
corner in
really interesting.
Philadelphia. If you're from Philly, please just put the 2 letters in chat,
Uh-huh.
just comment down below. But continue.
I had a tangent earlier. I can't
Mhm.
get mad at you for that one. We had Apollo as Green Lantern, which is interesting.
Yeah,
The like poetry creation theme.
yeah.
Um, Also kind of a obnoxious stuck up bitch.
Yes, she spends a lot of
Yeah,
time in the sky,
I th-
so
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I thought that was really well matched. Um, Hermes as the Flash.
makes sense.
Interesting. Messenger God.
Yeah,
Busy bee. Nosy in everybody's business. Yeah, sure.
very
Cool.
fast.
Uh, Best friends with snakes? Question mark. It's fine.
Fucking Flash out here speaking parcel tongue.
Hephaestus as cyborg. I think that's it's a good comparison. I think it was the least inspired. But it is a really interesting tie in this idea of like disability themes around Hephaestus and
Yeah.
Cyborg, as you know. uh,
weapons maker,
yeah,
forge
and
of the
like
gods.
amputee and all that
Hmm.
stuff. Even though like we could talk about like the idea of disability in superhero media and how so many of them aren't actually like disabled by like a social model standard because of their superpowers. But that's not a tangent I'm gonna go on right now. But no, I could write an essay on it. Uh,
Listen, man, that sounds like a video for Pip if I've ever heard one.
I'd have to do so much more research, but maybe. I'll put it on the list for the non-existent Patreon.
There we go.
And finally, we have Shazam as Zeus, which is a really interesting thing to assign to a literal child.
Yeah.
That one I felt weird about. Like, I
Maybe that's
get
why
the
she
like lightning
fucking
thunder
punched him in the face.
association, but
She like
fair
if she
enough.
ever whenever she
Mhm,
finds out
mhm.
that Billy's an actual child, she's gonna feel real bad. She's gonna
He
feel real
is.
bad about punishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one felt the
Anyways,
most
that was the one I was
uninspired.
iffiest
I was
about.
like,
Yeah.
that felt like, hey,
Mhm.
hey, we out here, all of us and Mark. That's what it felt like. It felt like that. It's just, it was like, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
I mean, to be
Mhm.
fair, he's from Philly. He should know. He probably feels that way quite often. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Which,
um,
Greek god would you assign to Kal-El?
man, that's a good one. Part of me wants to give him like a Titan status, right? One of the
Mhm.
older Greek gods.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially because he was, like, the first, like, superhero.
Here, yeah, he's the first one like out in the open in the New 52 universe. So yeah, I would try and think what's like a good Titan that would fit.
I'm Googling Greek Titans.
I know. I was like, we got there's quite a few. I didn't realize that. I thought there was like six. I
Yeah.
didn't realize there was like, damn.
I think there's, like, 12.
Yeah. So we got Prometheus.
Um,
Kronos is a big one.
yeah,
Eos.
Cronus is more like Prometheus might be a good pull.
Prometheus might be a good one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because no matter what, at the end of the day, he always like keeps doing what he needs to do.
Mhm. Yeah, okay,
Atlas is
cool.
another good one
Nailed
too.
it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Atlas. I don't know.
Prometheus
Anyways,
though, if you
drop in the
think about
comments. Let us
yeah,
know.
what Greek god do you think Kal-El could be attributed to? Yeah, Prometheus might be a good one because he's got the fire. He's like kind of he's like showing the world that there could be like this. Like, he likes the fire of modern superheroes and within the New 52.
Exactly.
Damn, that kind of works. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's stick with
Yeah.
Prometheus for that one, at least for our answer.
Mhm.
Again,
Yeah.
comment down below. Let us know. Um, so hit us. What notes do you have? What things you want to shout out?
I will say this is the first one. It was like an hour 20, an hour 19, I
Yeah.
think. It was the first one that felt long. I looked down and I went, shit, I have 20 minutes left in this film. It's already dragging. Um,
Was it the end fight for you? Because
I don't
the end
know.
fight felt like it was dragging a little bit. It felt like it was
Yeah,
crescendoing,
yeah,
and then like Clark got taken to fucking apocalypse. I'm like, I don't remember
right.
this.
And then we had 15 more minutes of this fucking fight. So I didn't love that. I did love Vic's like backstory. Everything with him
Yeah.
is amazing. I love them making the association with Billy at the beginning. That little fucker, that shitty ass kid. I love him so much.
Love
Uh,
Billy.
he is an asshole. He is horrible to his like foster family. And I'm like, and for what, dude? Uh,
Listen, Philadelphia
anyways, that's
DHS
not
has
the.
not been his friend. No offense to my best friend who works there. I know she does good work, but apparently in New 52,
Mhm.
we failed them.
Yeah. I again, I really didn't like Wonder Woman's whole shit.
Yeah.
Especially them having like a puppet of her on a literal noose. That was weird. That was a little uncalled for.
Yeah.
Uh, but protesters in this country are always gonna go a little too fucking far.
Yeah.
Um,
No shit.
fine. It's fine. Uh, do. Oh, I really did love. We talked about the problems with like Clark's characterization in this,
Mhm. Mhm.
but him and Bruce were like flirting the entire movie, and I loved that so much.
Really did feel like they were flirting this time.
They
And
were
sometimes we make the
flirting, and
joke, and
then they
other
were
times I'm like,
fighting, and I was
this
like,
feels
this, this is
it
a
feels like
little
something's about to
romantic.
happen.
Not gonna
Yeah.
lie, yeah.
Damn, Bruce, every time you fight somebody, you
um,
gonna fuck them? Like, what's gonna happen? This just sounds like a Bruce thing. It's like, I'm sorry, we threw hands. I
some people get
must.
off on being thrown around.
I get it.
And
I
if
get it.
that's not Bruce in a nutshell, I don't know what
I get
is.
it, man. I get it.
Yeah, that's it. There was one quote I really loved. I'm just making sure you didn't include it in the notes. Okay, perfect. At the beginning when Hal and Bruce are like fucking around or whatever, uh, and they get caught by Gotham PD. Bruce is like, "Take your glow stick and go home. Gotham's mine." And then immediately Hal was like, "This whole sector of the universe is mine."
What do you mean? I outrank you.
Do you though? Do
It's like not
you?
everything's about your fucking city.
Oh, and my actual major gripe with this movie, this is a serious issue for me. It was a hard sticking point. I forgot that we had gotten into the era of the super pointy nosed
Oh,
dominoes. I fucking hate
yeah.
them. They look so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everybody's domino is like normal on top, and then the bottom is a fucking point.
That's that Jim
Why?
Lee, man. That's Jim Lee, man. You gotta look at his
But like,
Wolverine. Like, yeah.
I think it looks so much better on the page, but when it's like in the animated era, it doesn't work.
Yeah, because this has a distinct art style, like where we talked about in previous films where like they or like when we talked about Commandy, for like the DC shorts, that was mimicking Jack Kirby's style and it did an incredible job.
Right.
This is like taking the framework that is Jim Lee's, New 52 designs because
Right.
he designed all the heroes in that universe and be like, "Oh, let's try to translate that into our own distinct art style." And yeah, if it was a little flatter, I think it might work.
Mhm.
The pointiness
Yeah.
is,
And
like is there, you know?
when we get Nightwing in this universe, also it's pretty egregious,
Mhm.
especially with the way like they shape his like the shape of his face. It's just I don't know. It just it doesn't translate well. And I love his
Yeah.
art. I love his art style. I think it's really interesting. But when they do this like like mixed cheaty 3D like animation effects on all the faces with the pointy fucking
Mhm.
it the dominoes just don't look good in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And that's a choice, right? That's a choice from
Right.
this, like, DCAMU, like, roundtable. I don't know if I know Jim Lee does run a lot of the day-to-day stuff within DC in general, especially at this time too, but I don't know if that's, like, a mandate from him. Obviously, they have an idea, like, "We're gonna mimic the New 52, we're gonna do this and that," so that is a choice. Otherwise, I mean, the face wise, they do a pretty good job, but I do agree that like a lot of the pointiness comes from that, and it
Mhm.
doesn't really translate well because, as you mentioned, Jim Lee's art, and this is me personally, he's like it's easy to say he's like the goat. He's like
Yeah,
almost like the Tom Brady,
absolutely.
like the someone
Mhm.
up there. Where like I can't deny his success, but like,
Mhm.
is there better artists or people you like more than one? Yeah, maybe, but he is that good, that level of awesome. And, a lot of these are high collars. I remember that would be a big thing with their
Mhm.
designs. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
that with the New 52 launch.
I
Um
especially with the when they do Clark with the high collar and then the
mhm.
like attachment for his cape, it it is something. I kind of dig it. I love a really like exaggerated high collar. It is coded as more villainous typically in comic book
Fair.
media. So it was a funny choice at the time. But yeah, no, I'm not in an outrage over the high collars. I think they're fun.
True.
And again, the dominoes and like the masks and the cowls and stuff in this entire run, like the art is gorgeous and it works. I just really fucking hate it in the animated space.
That is fair. And, it's funny too. All the praise we're giving Jim Lee, he also, I believe, created one of the worst designs ever for any Robin in Red Robin in the New 52. And so there is that, parallel. I'm pretty sure he's the one who came up with the style, or if nothing, Scott Lobdell, he approved it. Like he approved, he like looked at it, was like, "Yup, that's good. That's better than the Red Robin we had
Mm,
2 months ago. That looked like the traditional one."
right.
Yeah. Oh, you're just
I'm
gonna make
fact
yourself
checking
angry if you're
this.
looking. Yeah, who created the design? You're just gonna look at it. It's gonna make. Why does he have
uh,
feathers? No,
this
not
is
the Red
okay. I'm on the
Robins.
Wikipedia page. Uh, I don't know if this is helpful. Do do do. I'm not finding. Anyways, but yeah, no, that was a costume choice that was
Yes,
made. Whoever made that costume choice,
he at least
yeah.
approved it, so
Um,
he's in the wrong.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
also, I wanna. There's somebody I just saw because I looked New 52 design, Red Robin, and
Mm.
this is ABS abstract. It was an abstract penny on Reddit, DC Comics Reddit, 4 years ago. Unpopular opinion: New 52 Red Robin is Tim's best suit, and I wouldn't change a thing except maybe the wings. I understand the hate for it. Sir, go fuck yourself. Respectfully, you sir or madam or whoever, go fuck
Respectfully,
yourself.
yeah.
That is the worst fucking design.
That is a take.
That is, yeah.
Um,
I appreciate
and
you
you know
being on the
what?
wrong side of history and sticking to your point.
I appreciate you saying it with your full chest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's brave.
it's my problem is it's like so giving X-Men, like the yellow
Yes,
straps,
yes.
and also it just like doesn't fit Robin. Isn't it like I could be completely wrong. I'm horrible with like comics continuity and shit. Isn't it like inspired by like the suit from like Earth 52 or whatever where like Jason goes back to the Bruce that killed the Joker and then lost the shit and then he dies and then blah blah
The
blah
new
blah
52
blah.
version, no, but like the original with like the black cowl over it. But that
That one
is
was.
that
Okay,
is
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that is kind of from that
Right.
universe slash like Kingdom Come. That's the suit that Red Robin uses in that universe as well. Yeah, that suit fucking amazing. The other one, not so much. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. My thing is like especially with the if like feather cape wing thing,
Mhm.
that could have been so cool, but it does not fit the character at
No,
all.
absolutely not. There's so many
At
weird
all.
in that
Yeah.
in just in that world. I just,
Uh-huh.
again, for everything good, there's a balance, right? There's this.
Right. Yeah.
There's this piece of
There's
shit.
uh-huh.
Uh,
And that's my favorite thing about this like universe is like it giveth and it taketh away. Like
yeah.
it gives you some of those brilliant, inspired, like revamped like, backstories and storylines, and it also like completely ruins some characters, like
So many.
fundamentally. I'm
So
like, all
many.
right,
God. Just love it.
we can only
So
have so many nice things. Got it.
also, again, I'm going down a rabbit hole just because we're talking about designs, and I need this be on record. You know,
Okay.
C, you know, what's the CBR.com.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Tim Drake's 10 best costumes. We'll talk about this off air, but the Red Robin suit that we're shitting on, the New 52, ranks number 5 over his original costume, over 1 year later, over fucking the Red Robin with the cowl that I mentioned that I love.
Uh-huh.
Over so many. And What the fuck? Why? There's there's a bone I need to pick with that person as well. We'll talk about that off air. I'll share
Yeah,
that list off
yeah,
there.
that's
I had to get
I'm
that. I
looking at
saw
it.
it. I was
We'll
like, I
link
got to
it
get on
below.
record. Yeah, we'll link it below.
Yeah, no, that's
Here's another engagement fun
I
thing.
also
What's your favorite New
disagree with
52 suit and what's your worst New 52 suit? Put it on the comment down below.
yeah, good one. Um, I also think it's absolutely criminal that they put one of the best ones as number 2 and one of my least favorites is number 1. But
Yeah,
you know,
I got angry. Yeah.
it's fine.
I was like, don't.
Okay, we'll link that
Um,
down below and you can
yes,
tell us which one you like and how you would rank these
exactly.
suits. As you can tell, this movie not great with how distracted we've gotten.
Yes, exactly. Um, so yeah, I wanted to touch upon a few things before we move on, but yeah, I did.
Uh-huh.
One funny thing just for my correlation to now living like on the border of Delaware in PA and from Philly. So Billy hoofs it, and at first, like I forgot that he had his powers, and I was like, how the fuck
Uh-huh.
did Billy go from Philly? Like, if you take the bus, that's a good two
Uh-huh.
hours to get to Delaware. And
Uh-huh.
that's canonically, that's where Metropolis is supposed to be in Delaware. That's a good 30 minutes from where I'm at right now, like for like correlation if I'm
Uh-huh.
by the border of it. And I was like, how the fuck did he get there? And then like I saw him transform, I was like, oh, he flew. That's like no time. That's I would make that trip all the time. I'd be like flying to fucking yeah, I would have catch a fucking Metropolis. Also, you're a fucking superhero. Why are you break in the other one? Just fly above the goddamn stadium. You're right there. Like, if you don't want
I'll
Superman to
tell you
see you, just
why.
sit on the top of the fucking roof.
Yeah. It's because he has the brain capacity of a 12-year-old.
Fair.
And his frontal lobe is so not developed and he doesn't
Mhm.
really have critical thinking skills yet. Which is something we don't acknowledge enough with him being a literal like thousands-year-old superhero and also a
A child.
12-year-old.
Yeah.
Literal child.
Yes, yeah, you keep forgetting that he's 12, yeah.
Infant.
Um, I did like, Clark calling Batman out on his xenophobia. Something about
Oh
alien
yeah,
stuff. He was like,
absolutely.
"Not all aliens are the same." How do I know? They make this
It
joke in Harley
was
Quinn as well.
poignant.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really good.
Mhm.
Um, I do love, I do love Flash walking in. I wrote this. I love Flash walking in when like Victor and Silas are having like a fight after Victor first transforms. And Flash is like, for me, it was like, I got mommy and daddy issues, but not like this. Like, I'm out. Like,
Like,
I
I'm
don't
good.
need this.
I'll let you solve that on your own.
Um, one of my favorite scenes, absolutely, and it always kills me. And it's just recently, funny enough, we always talk about this. DC social media is like syncs with when we're recording episodes, so this is really random. But a clip showed up like about a week ago before we filmed this episode, and it was Hal getting jumped when he tries to fight
Uh-huh.
Darkseid. It
I
is one of my
really wanna
favorite
know,
things.
yeah, who on their fucking social media team has access to our spreadsheet? Like, it is technically publicly available. Anybody who has the link can open it. Please don't unless you're our guest or
Yeah,
something.
unless you're gonna be on the
Anyways,
show
but
or James
obviously
Gunn, don't do it.
yeah. Obviously somebody at DC's social media team has access
Just knows.
because literally every time we go to record
It's
a
like a week or
fucking
two,
episode,
like either a week after or the day
yeah,
after or like a week before. It's like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Like this clip
it's
of him going after Darkseid from Jump and then Darkseid smacking him down and then all the fucking parademons just jumping him. And they do that thing in animation where they just punch real fast. And it's fucking hilarious every time. And he gets his ass whooped. I loved it so goddamn much. Um, That's another thing I wanted to jump on before we
I did have a
move.
question for
Mm,
you.
yes, please.
Um, why did all these fucking soldiers and I think Darkseid too have like the Greek like omega symbol
Ah,
on
yes,
their
yes,
like
yes.
bodies or whatever?
So, Darkseid being Darkseid himself and thinking he is above everything. He considers him the omega of the universe, you know. That's why his beams are called the omega beams. They're the end of everything. Typically when he hits
Alright.
you with them, like you just disappear. Like back in we're talking Silver Age comics, when he would hit you with the Omega
Uh,
beams, your existence just fades away from the universe completely. Like no one knows who you were. You were never alive, born, anything. Like no one
damn.
remembers your
Yeah.
death, anything.
You're
Um,
completely just, like, insta-wiped.
yeah, so that is the symbol. They really, really started with like focusing on that as his like iconography, like his icon during Final Crisis.
Iconography of him.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I was trying to get to. Final Crisis was like a big deal. That was like everywhere. And now it's like they really harp on like the Omega. So he's where I guess High Father would be the alpha, he's the
Huh.
Omega.
Alright.
Yeah. So that is that. I saw that question. I was like, oh yeah, we gotta talk about this. It's nice. Um oh yeah, here two last little points of fun. One funny and one like kind of serious, and they don't touch upon it. Clark kills somebody. um Clark killed
Yeah.
Desaad. I know he
Uh-huh.
was mind controlled a little bit, and like it's not technically his fault,
Yeah.
but I feel any version of Clark would be like, "Hey guys, I know we're at done this battle. I need some time to reflect. I killed somebody, not of my own volition. I need some time." Like,
Yeah. It like, one thing, like, people would argue, like, "Oh, like, whatever, like, some random, like, creature or whatever." But, like, this is Clark. He's also technically an alien, like, he would have some big feelings about that.
yeah, a paradigm is
Um,
one thing because they literally always say it's just basically mass. It's like there's no
right.
brainstem, there's nothing. They are just a mass of something. Like they don't feel fear, they don't feel anything. Like, yeah, you can get like Batman's like, oh shit, I can do this. Oh, I'm murdering. Like, I get that fucking murder boner out the way.
Yeah. Um, Clark is never going to reflect on that ever. 'Cause this is
Not this universe.
2014.
Yeah, not this universe. No, absolutely. Also, just
But
randomly that joke, it makes me think that like Bruce would kidnap a parademon and dress him up as the Joker just to get his rocks off. You know?
he'd be into that.
Yeah, he would be.
Kinky motherfucker.
He would. Um, I did have a note here because it's funny. I was thinking about the Jim Lee collection and everything when we were watching. Um, and it said I'm not saying the league is wrong. Here's the note, but once they started to fight together, it started to come together. Like, and I said that if this was the X Men, they'd have jumped this motherfucker from jump because X Men are basically a gang. Like, I know we're superheroes and they do
Uh-huh.
all this nice stuff. We mentioned it before. Not to get too much into Marvel, they're a gang. They jump people. They don't.
Yeah.
There's no 1 week
They
buns with the X Men. It's on site.
uh-huh.
You know?
And I think that has a really interesting I know you're positing this is a joke, but now I'm
Mhm.
thinking about like the social implications of
Mm,
that. And it is really interesting to take like all of these like marginalized individuals who are like literally like classified as like second class like humans
mhm.
in this world and saying you have to like go protect the people who think like you are less than them. Uh and of course they're gonna jump a motherfucker because they've literally all like fought through like fucking hell and back just to be alive at this point, right? Like the fact that they're like hanging out in this cushy ass mansion or whatever now is one thing, but like how all of them got there,
Yes, traumatic as fuck. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Uh, so yeah, you're right. They'd immediately be jumping this motherfucker.
Yeah, like this fight would have been over a lot earlier. And I'm not saying that Darkseid's not gonna give them a run for their money, but like
Right.
Cyclops says to me, my X-Men, it's on site.
Yeah.
That's it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's what I want to touch upon. So moving on, we're gonna touch upon drama class, one of my favorite holdovers from MC University. We have 3 scenes here. We'll start with the top one. And all right, so we have 3 characters here. We have Green Lantern, Flash, and Batman.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to be Hal or you want to be Barry?
Uh, I don't care, but I think we could do one person
Alternate.
as Flash and Batman, and then the other as
Okay.
Hal.
Good. All right. I'll start. I'll be Hal. All right. Flash, my boy. Great to see you. Oh, yeah, that's Batman.
It's real?
Yeah, he's over there.
Wait, well, it's an honor to meet you, sir. Batman, sir. Batman, sir.
Don't bother. This guy's a total tool.
I don't have a Batman voice. I followed your efforts in Central City, Flash. You do tight, efficient work.
Hey Barry, you got a little something on your nose.
So funny. I would so go over like the heads of most of the target audience in this film,
Yeah.
which made me laugh even harder at
Yeah.
it.
That got me. That got me. Every time
It's
that
like
line
that's
happens.
a joke for the adults in the room.
Uh-huh. 100%. All right.
I also really cracked me up, Batman calling very tight felt sexual. Just saying.
From Bruce
Anyways,
specifically. Yeah.
moving on.
I also love he's very managerial when it comes to like talking about people who's like, hey, you do really good work.
Right.
I was like, what?
You're so efficient.
Yeah, not like this motherfucker behind you. You should really not associate yourself with this person. He sucks. Chill. We'll switch off. If you want to be Hal in this one, I'll be Bruce.
Sure. As I was saying, Green Lantern can do anything.
Except shut up, apparently.
Wow, someone forgot to take their true blood tonight.
I'm not a vampire.
Seriously? I thought it was the darkness and the vanishing and the what? Super strength?
No.
Can you fly?
In a plane.
Wait, you're not just some guy in a bat costume, are you? Are you freaking kidding me? What? Nobody asked you to prom, so now you're dressed as a bat and prowl around in your parents' basement?
What's this do?
Huh?
No buttons. I assume it works off concentration.
How did you do that?
You weren't concentrating.
Won't do that again.
Unless I want to.
Correct.
That's also sexual. He won't do that again unless I want to. All right, Bruce. Hold
Yeah,
on.
let me just address you real quick.
Yeah,
Don't worry
safe
about
words.
it.
Safe words, sir. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
Consent is important.
Also, how's lying? Like, wait, do you prowl around in your parents' basement? I was like, you're not wrong.
Technically.
You kind of hit the nail on the coffin, and I'm really proud of you, Hale, for being so stupid and nailing this.
Yeah.
It's so funny because most of these are just Green Lantern and Batman because they just
Mhm.
just
They're so
absolutely
good.
killer.
They
So
were the
good in this
shining
movie.
light of this film.
Honestly, they really were. All right, final one. I'll be Hal.
Yeah, take it.
Suspect of costume. This is my uniform.
Quiet.
Oh, you want to bark orders after I did the heavy lifting and pulled everyone together?
You're referring to when you botched simple directives and Wonder Woman led the charge?
Cyborg showed you a video.
He emailed it to me.
I really hate you, bats. Great. Fucking fantastic.
They're so good.
All right. Now moving on, we got quiz time. Got a interesting
Right.
question for you. So you get full
Oh,
points if you
great.
get one or the other.
Okay.
This movie features another Superman actor playing a different DC character. Can you guess the actor or the character that he plays? You get full points if you get one or the other, or both.
No, because you did the filling out of the information in the docs. I have
Oh,
no
fair. I
idea
assumed you
what's
looked at the
happening.
IMDb. Fuck, that's on me.
I did
All right,
not
I'll
look
give
at the
you full points
IMDb.
anyway. I'll give you that's fucked up on me. I usually do that. I was like, oh, I'm here. I'll just do it. I got nothing. Homework's done and the kids are fed. I got nothing to do right now.
For the people, who was the answer?
It was, George Newbern, who's
Oh,
previously played
shit.
Superman. He is Steve Trevor in this. He only has a few lines, but he's
Oh,
Steve Trevor.
he only had, like, 2 lines in the entire movie.
Honestly, he did. I heard it, though, I was like, "Was that fucking George Newbern?" Alright, yeah, you still get points.
Nice.
That's fucked up of me for not I forgot that I filled out the cast. Alright.
Thanks for doing that, by the way,
Yeah,
'cause,
you're welcome.
I literally finished this movie, like, 2 minutes before our scheduled record time.
Listen, man,
I
that's
think
how
I
it
had,
is
like,
sometimes.
7 minutes left. I had to go out and run an errand, and I came back and I finished the rest of the movie and then sat down to record.
Listen, safely, if you drive and just have your phone on and you've seen this movie before, you can kinda get away with it audio-wise. Who I legally can't tell you if I've been there or not. But, it happens. Whatever happens, happens. No one's hurt. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Alright, moving on to Homeroom. Final thoughts of the movie. Sly, what are your final thoughts?
Uh, this is fine. It was completely forgettable, which is probably why I didn't remember jack shit that happened in this movie.
Agree.
Um, I I don't think I would recommend it. I don't think it's bad by any means.
Mm-mm.
I just think, like, the end fight drags a lot, and as we mentioned, so the characterizations are a little off, and, like, really the only, like, 2, like, shining moments of
Mhm.
this entire film are, as we mentioned, Hal and Bruce's relationship and, Victor's backstory. I think are the only, like, 2 really strong points of the movie. I get that it was important to set up, like, the Justice League in this universe. Sorry, the Super 7
Super
of
7, yeah,
this
they're not even in the league yet.
universe. Um, and I think it was necessary in the continuity. So, like, if you're trying to, like, 100% complete all of these fucking movies, go ahead and watch it. Like, it will be helpful in the future a little bit, but, like, I don't think you're missing too much if you skip it.
Yeah. This is one of those, it's gonna be especially this season, I think we're gonna do a lot of comparisons with MCU because that is also a shared universe in the modern era that we have.
I know
Comic
what's
books
going on at the same time. This is, like, kind
exactly.
of the answer to the
Yeah,
MCU.
and unfortunately, and this is why we do the show, no one really saw it because, "Oh, it's
It
animated,"
was animated.
We
Yeah.
well, Zack Snyder has a vision. Alright, well, that vision didn't really pan out. Now James
Bad
Gunn has a
vision.
vision. Yeah, James Gunn has a vision now, so let's see how that pans out live action wise, but that's why we do it this show. Um, yeah, for me, I think this is serviceable. This feels like a lot of movies, like MCU comparison for me would be Thor: Dark World. We're like, "Do you need to watch it?
But that was bad
No."
and fun.
Yeah, yeah, this has some fun parts. Thor: Dark World does have a little more fun. I do love the banter between Thor and, Jane Foster, but that is one of those movies where it just sets up the reality, stone. It's a point
Mhm.
A to B, now you know what the reality stone is, like, Christopher Eccleston is misused in that role as Malekith. The
Oh,
Dark
yeah.
Elves are misused in the, MCU, like, we're not gonna fix that anytime soon. Their portrayal and how they should be, portrayed in Marvel, at least media outside of the comics. So that's what this is, and this is it's funny because it's doing the envious task of like trying to mimic what Jeff Johns and Jim Lee had to do. Right, that was a tall task in general, and that was a very entertaining,
Right.
very blockbustery comic book. It felt like a movie, and that may come from Jeff's background in film. Being an understudy of Richard Donner, and things of that nature. This does a serviceable job of kinda hitting those stories. I think if it wasn't for Jason O'Mara, his portrayal as Batman is really fantastic.
Mhm.
Um, Shamar Moore as although he sounds old as fuck, and I'm not even saying that Shamar Moore is old. I'm just saying we have, like, a 17-year-old fucking like Victor Stone, 18-year-old Victor Stone, and he sounds like he's a 36-year-old. He sounds like me. He sounds like a 37, 38-year-old man. That doesn't really
Yeah, I would have
translate
put him
well.
solidly, like, late 20s, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like, "Ooh, sir, you already sound like you got good credit, and you're about to buy a house." Like, no, like, he should be like, "Hey, I'm struggling, I need to eat hamburgers to pay for tuition." Like, that's
Right.
what it should
Yeah.
be. Um, Shamar Moore doesn't he brings a really good gravitas to his role. He's a really good actor, he's a really good voice actor. It's just and unfortunately, I think he's gonna be our Vic the whole series, and that's not a bad thing, it's a deep ass voice. That's a good for a Vic that we get at the end of this DCAMU when we get to Apocalypse War, like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he's seen shit. He's
Right.
older now. He's almost
We're
30," you
just
know?
not gonna get that progression over
No,
the next, like,
no, man.
what, 6 years or whatever.
No, basically, like, Cyborg should be, part of, like, Stray Kids or some Korean boy band. Like, that's how deep his voice is. That joke is specifically for Fee. If she hears this, because we all love Felix, and that when that voice drops, ooh, my panties drop too. Anyway, um, so
I
that
know.
that his story though, I think, as you mentioned, is really wonderful. I think they really do a good job of doing that, and that was a big focus of the New 52. Is like kind of like, all right, listen, yeah, Cyborg as predominantly this Teen Titans, guy. Yes, he's going to be like the new young member of the league. We're kind of bringing him up to the major leagues now when it comes to team wise. So let's reintroduce him. Let's kind of make him more involved, like Brother Boxy kind of deal, and like everything's kind of connected, film wise kind of deal. They do a really good job with that. It's just everything else is sadly a little flat. Darkseid doesn't have that gravitas to him. He doesn't feel like the big bad that he should be. I think he feels like a big bad in this only. Honestly, this is the first time we've even talked about him. Really,
Right.
outside of the
We
Omega
didn't
sim.
even talk about, yeah.
No, this man called
Uh,
he called it like a fucking crowbar to the eye, a sword to the eye. We haven't even discussed it. We discussed it once to talk about the Omega symbol, but like
RIP that sword that Diana was so fond of going through the portal with
that's a
him,
shame.
never
Yeah,
to be seen again.
she was disappointed.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
sad. She was like, "Fuck, I really like that sword. That was my favorite sword." um, but he doesn't feel like the big bad. Our previous entry with Darkseid, we've had Andre Braugher, the amazing actor he was, rest in peace. Portraying Darkseid. He has that gravitas to him, that voice work, and not to bemoan Stephen Blum, who's like an amazing voice actor. He's Spike Spiegel and Cowboy Bebop and Wolverine and so many other media. Great voice actor, but I don't know what they do with the post processing or something like that. He just doesn't feel like a big bad, and like you kind of rest your laurels on the fact that like Darkseid gets used a lot now in media too as like, hey, in case of emergency, here's a big bad. It's Darkseid because he's a multiversal threat. Like they just did that recently, with the Dark Crisis and creating the absolute universe. Like that's all Darkseid stuff. While Amanda Waller's like, I'm taking powers from everyone. Darkseid's, oh shit, yo, Earth is fucking for the picking. I'm a fucking fuck with the universe right now because ain't no one got powers. Like it's just like that's like in case of emergency, break glass, use Darkseid. Um,
Uh-huh.
and when he's used correctly, when you see him, you should be like, "Oh fuck, business is
Yeah,
just picked
it
up."
shouldn't be the setting up
Mhm.
of this universe, right? I don't know. It falls flat. He kind of seems like a weak ass bitch, which should not be dark side. And he was there, but like, was he though? Like,
Yeah, we'll have to see how this plans out because again, this is the least amount of movies I've seen in our list. So I've seen a decent amount. I know he comes back and plays a big role, especially at the end of this series. But at least with Justice League Origin, Jeff and Jim had an idea, like, all right, year one, this is our first the first 6 months is this origin story. The next 6 months is this story. Year two, we're gonna introduce at the end of that year two, we'll introduce, Darkseid's daughter that he had with like an Amazonian. That's gonna be played. And then you get to year three, it was like, all right, Darkseid's back. Like now this is a big deal because we've established him. He is a threat. The Justice League had a form to fight him. That's like it's not a Superman villain anymore. He's a multiversal threat. You see him, it's bad. This doesn't have that, and they kind of have to unfortunately skirt around. He just feels like the villain because he just happens to be the villain, and it's a shame. Because Darkseid is pretty cool. You know, he's a pretty cool bad guy, all things considered. But he doesn't feel like that level that we got with, MCU Thanos or anything like that, which
Right.
they're two peas in the pot. They're literally this it's like Deathstroke and
Exactly.
Deadpool. That's the whole point.
Speaking
So,
of bad guys, though, the mid credits scene
yes.
of this episode does set up not the next movie in our list, but the next Justice League movie
Yes.
in our list.
And you want to talk about
We get a
bitch?
little teaser for Throne of Atlantis,
Yeah, King
which
King
is a
bitch
film.
himself. Ocean
We'll get
Master.
to it. But before we get there, we have a very fun movie to talk about. Next up are
Yes.
not to steal your stomach, but
No, 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 no.
stomach
No, it's a good I
segment.
wanted to transition to this. Yeah, because your homework next week and mine, because I've never seen this movie, is Son of Batman.
You've never seen this
No,
movie?
no, I've seen clips and
Oh
I'm really
man.
excited to watch
Uh-huh.
this. I know the one clip I've
Yeah.
always seen is the initial interaction between Nightwing and Damian, which always is hilarious when they fight.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that Alfred has to stop Dick from cursing a fucking 10-year-old out. I do love that. I love that quite a bit.
Yeah, very exciting. We haven't gotten a lot of Damien Love on the show so far.
Oh,
Obviously, our respective faves being Dick and Jason. And we've had some Stephanie Love on the show. I mean, I love Cass, so Cass
yeah.
always gets love for me. But like Tim and Damien, I think are the ones that kind of get
Just
least
shoved to the
representation
side.
on our show.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him to be here in full force
This
and
the little shit that he is himself,
little
Damian Wayne.
shit. Yeah. I love him so much
I
and
do
I
too.
also hate him so much.
God, yeah,
If
he's such
that
a
isn't the
dickhead.
perfect little sibling vibe.
Exactly. God, for such a little dickhead, he's so fun to watch and kind of root for.
Right.
But yeah, that's your
Definitely.
homework next week is Son of the Batman. Again, that's gonna be interesting. And then, as I mentioned down below, what's your favorite new 52 design? Which one's your favorite Tim Drake design? And Greek gods. Or who do you think Superman would be? That helps us with engagement. So please, God, do it.
Please do. Yeah,
uh,
you can comment on the YouTube video. If you're watching on Spotify, you can leave a comment there. If you're watching anywhere else, drop us a mention on your preferred social media of choice. We're on
yeah,
most of them at Point in Progress. We can all see those mentions. So let us know
yeah,
what your thoughts are.
absolutely. All right. And Slap, before we dismiss class, where can people find you?
You know what? You could find me on the Storygraph,
Ah, yes. I
at
remember saying that. There.
Cyclone. I'm trying to read more things, so go find me there. I have a lot of like grand plans. I'm so burnt out in my personal life. I have so many content ideas that are fun to think about. I don't know if any of them will happen. So I might revamp my entire Instagram, so
Sure.
keep an eye on that, I guess. At like let MC. Something might
Yeah.
happen there. Something probably won't happen there. But
Never know.
check it out. See if I did anything with
Yeah.
it.
Now you're on the edge of your seat, audience. For me, it's you can find us here, DC graduates on Point in Progress, your audio podcast choice of whatever service you listen to, and video youtube.com/, Point in Progress as well. Game of the year videos are out. Me and Mario edited those videos, we split them down the middle. They were really fun to do, very stressful when we finally got them out. Uh, Sicknesses be damned. All of us literally call it sickness. That's why they were in February. We didn't plan it because it's our anniversary. It literally just happened that way. It was very weird. But yeah, you can find that on youtube.com/, Point of Progress. There's a little playlist, so you can just watch all the videos. Uh, Fair warning, if time is a thing for you, Frank is very long. Uh, it doesn't feel long though, which
So
is
good
really
though. It
nice. It
doesn't
really
feel
does
good.
not feel like it's half an hour.
It's
And
brilliant. I love listening to that man talk.
he's
Also,
so good.
Mario is one of the best talkers I've ever heard in my life.
Those
Like
were so
that
fun to edit.
that
Yeah.
man is so brilliant. And like I just every time he writes something, like my mind is blown. He's
Yeah.
so amazing. We have
Yeah.
such talented friends. How the
Exactly. That's
fuck did we con our
constant
way into this
inspiration.
group?
Fuck if I know, man. Yeah, you motherfuckers invited me. You guys were already set. You were like, "Hey, you know what? Let's add another
You're
fucking
brilliant.
knucklehead." But yeah, you can find us there. For me, you can find me youtube.com/, nerdaday. I've been writing some scripts, so, hopefully, down the line, you'll see
Very
me there.
exciting.
We might restart Chaos Bringers on another podcast or another YouTube page, so you might see that down the line soon as well. Oh yeah, and at time of this dropping, should be a couple episodes into It's Not a Loop season 2, which is not a loop, it's a quantum break. As you see me go through the
Hell yeah.
Remedy verse in our second game of the series, Quantum Break. But till next time, class is dismissed.
Bye.